Hey everybody, it's me, Bryson Booker, and it's time for another video game review just for you, and all of you people who still think that Genesis does what Nintendo doesn't, and what Nintendo still doesn't do. Blast processing, people. What am I talking about when I say this? Genesis does blast processing. Well, if you were a kid of the 90s, you know those were phrases that Sega used to advertise their Genesis. And what I'm going to be reviewing today is Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection for the Xbox 360, and it is a part of the Platinum Hits series. Guys, what can I say? It's a compilation of Genesis games. That's it, we're done. Goodbye. No, seriously, it's a compilation of Genesis games, but it seems to be one of the biggest compilations of Genesis games that Sega has ever released. Well, in 2009. This was released in 2009, but ever since then, we know that this company, lackluster company called Games, has released many different Genesis variants and mini consoles and packs with Genesis games piled in them as well. But as far as an official Sega release, here you go, people. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. This collection features 49 Genesis titles. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Altered Beast, Shinobi, Phantasy Star, Rust Star, Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3, Sonic Spinball, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 2 and Knuckles, Congo Bongo. Okay, man, too many games here. Kid Chameleon, Bonsai Brothers, Super Thunderblade. Do I need to go on? Do I really need to go on? So many great titles. Vetroman, Vetroman 2. You know, the sequels of the sequels of the sequels are on this game. And it's awesome. And the best part is, all of the games, whether you have an old school television or not, are in HD. So you can obviously play them in HD if you have an HD compatible television. And again, the game is rated E or E10 plus, because some games, you know, just feature minor violence, not that much. But obviously, most of the games featured on Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection are from Sega. You know, there's not really other third-party developers, except for the people that made Dynamite Headdy. Obviously, that game is on here, but that was also produced by Sega. So it makes sense why they put Dynamite Headdy on this game. But other games like Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, you know, EA Sports stuff, you're not going to get that on Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection because those games were made by other third-party developers. Sega mainly put their games that they created and they produced on this collection, which is okay because Sega made a lot of games for the Genesis, which is like a duh because it's their system. So of course they make a lot of games. And back in the day, you know, you really didn't have too many third-party developers at that time. But around, I would say, like 94, 95, then we started to get all these third-party developers making these different games. Good games, might I add. But I'm telling you, lots of great games. But that's not all. There's more. Yeah, can you believe it? There's more. There's unlockable interviews, artwork, history pieces about each game. So what you can do here is you can read the history. Like if you're a big video game history buff, I'm not a big video game history buff, but I'm a 90s history buff. And if you want to read the history about these games, you can. So you can scan through different pieces of artwork, look at the cartridges of the games, different things like that. You can unlock interviews. So like I think there's an interview with the Sonic the Hedgehog creator on here. You can unlock even more games. So you can actually unlock more games than what's really included on here, such as the arcade versions of Shinobi, Altered Beast, Congo Bongo, different games from the Sega catalog that were not just released for the Genesis, but also released in arcades. Because, I mean, how many of us actually grew up playing Altered Beast on our Genesis? I mean, we had to go to Chuck E. Cheese and do it, right? I mean, at least I'm speaking for me. I had to go to Chuck E. Cheese to play Altered Beast and other Sega titles. And that's okay because they're also included on here. And it's great. And again, there's not really much I could say about this. and there's really not much of a review I could give you, but the menu is pretty straightforward. It allows you to select different games and rate different games, and there's also different categories that you can put the games in. So you can view all the games alphabetically, you can view the games by year, and that way you can find them quicker. You know, it just makes it easier to find. Another feature on here is you can obviously save your data. Now, here's a plus for all of you people that did grow up with the Genesis or remember playing a Genesis. You couldn't save your data. You just have to use a passcode. And, you know, the Genesis was kind of like bringing the arcade home. And so on arcade games, you really can't save your data. So with the Genesis, you really couldn't save your data. But okay, you get to the umpteenth level of Sonic the Hedgehog, and you're only down to like 2 lives left. And it's like, oh my god, I gotta save my game. You can do that. You can save, I think, 3 slots of data for that particular game, such as Sonic the Hedgehog. You can save your data, and then when you're ready to get your butt kicked again, by Dr. Robotnik, you can load what you just did with your 2 lives left, or how many ever lives you have left, and play from that area of the game. So you can save and load data on this game. Awesome. I'm telling you, it's awesome. So I would encourage you to go pick it up, because if you don't have this in your collection, I would recommend getting it, especially if you're a 90s nostalgic freak like myself. You gotta have this in your collection, because if you don't have a Genesis, I mean, you don't have nothing. So it's like, go get the Genesis collection. You can relieve your Genesis games, whether you want to pay $100-something to get another Genesis or not. You can have it for, I don't know how much, like 20 bucks? I don't know. Who knows? You can have it for less than $100 now by getting the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection from Sega. It's a great compilation, great game. Pick it up for yourself.